didn't know somebody else was gonna be looking at my notes, but then she
Put
just took
something
it.
on there.
Yeah,
I
so.
can get into that.
All right, did you push start?
We did record, we are recording.
We are recording, thank you.
We're not on Facebook or nothing, it's just for minutes.
Public records, so. All right, 6 o'clock. Good evening. We want to welcome everybody to the Holbrook City Council special meeting called for May 21st, 2025 at 6 p.m. Roll call, everybody is in attendance except for Vice Mayor Mike Nilsson, who is excused for the night. We have just one item on the agenda, which is ordinance 25-05. And this is a first read. Background and discussion. Carbon utility needs space for a light industrial project to house special Connex containers. The containers will produce CO2, hydrogen, and methanol as direct outputs. The container is being shipped from the UK and is set to arrive in the first part of June. They have toured the facility and they have deemed this property to be suitable for their startup business. Both Alan and Jay Foster have reviewed the contract and have agreed to the terms. So basically, we're going to read the heading for ordinance number 2505. Basically, this is a lease agreement for this carbon utility group, but then we'll have Randy explain a little bit more about what it's about.
Do you have an address or the area?
Yeah, so it's the recycling
our
center,
old
where the old
recycling
recycling area center, by the landfill, by the transfer station.
Oh, okay, on the corner?
Yeah,
Okay.
if you're looking, so let me read the ordinance by heading, and then we'll turn it over to Mr. Sullivan for a little bit more explanation. So, ordinance number 25-05, an ordinance of the City of Holbrook, Arizona, authorizing the lease of certain municipal real property to Jay Foster, and authorizing the mayor and the city manager, the city clerk, and the city attorney to execute said lease agreement and take all actions necessary to complete the transaction. With that, Mr. Sullivan, if you can give us just a little bit more background.
I want to first thank all of you guys for showing up tonight. Hopefully it don't take that long, but I know it's a busy week, so I really appreciate it. I've been working with Chris Pastors and this carbon utility group for the last 3 or 4 weeks. And so it's kind of come together pretty fast. I used an existing agreement that Alan had used, our attorneys, for some other agreements. So I was able to utilize a lot of those pieces, plug in names, and get it back to Alan pretty fast last week. And Alan agreed that it was a good contract. Jay Foster, also with Carbon Utility, it's time to go.
I was like,
Had agreed to everything, so unless you guys, because it is a lease of land, it does require an ordinance, so it takes 2 reads. So the plan would be to do the first read tonight, second read next Wednesday, and then after that, it would take effect 30 days from there. So, but it shouldn't stop us from cleaning up the yard and having something, a place for those cargo containers coming. The cargo containers are being shipped from the UK, so they're on its way, and we had to work pretty fast to get this done. So next meeting, I do plan on having Jay available for any questions for you guys too, if you guys should have any.
Do you want to give us a quick overview of what it's? I know people are concerned about. Is there any kind of environmental impact?
So right now there's no environmental impact. So what they're mainly doing is producing CO2, and CO2 is going to be drawn directly from the air, and then they'll use that product to sell to bottle companies or beer companies, or they have an in with Knackert and in Flagstaff. And when you bottle that CO2, it has to have it's rated so high. I think it's got to be like 98% pure or something like that. And these guys are kind of starting out, and that's why they're bringing their product from UK. But that's what it's going to produce. So it's going to be drawing in the CO2 from the area and producing that, or oxygen from the area and producing CO2. There are 2 byproducts of that, and it's methanol and hydrogen, which we have another company coming in too pretty soon, Go Solar, and their whole business is based off of hydrogen. So hydrogen is a main product for chip making and those kind of things. So, the byproducts themselves are gonna be able to be shipped out as well.
Which I love that entrepreneurs are looking here. Like Randy mentioned last week, these guys were trying to work with Tucson and kept getting in roadblocks, and yet they're on a time
Why
crunch.
was it with Tucson? What were the roadblocks with Tucson?
So Tucson had a bunch of land
Mhm.
that they said, hey, come in and they started working with them. Well, then Tucson started requiring them to have a fence, and that was gonna be $50,000. Oh, and there was no utilities on the land, so that was another 50,000. And they gotta have 3-phase power. And APS didn't have power even close to the land, so they were gonna have to retrench it. So they just kept on hitting roadblock after roadblock after roadblock. And because they already had the shipping container coming, they're going, what are we doing? We gotta find a place for this. And so that's when they started meeting with Chris Pastors, and they were looking at Winslow, Snowflake, Taylor, and Show Low, and they liked this site the best out of all of them, with the rail and that kind of stuff. So the opportunities here are a lot better.
So this Foster guy, he'll be here next Wednesday to answer questions?
Yeah, either
about the business?
either he'll be on the phone or we'll Skype him in or something
Okay.
for any
And
questions.
Councilwoman Wood had a question as well.
I'm sorry, I thought you were ending.
No,
How many jobs will it create?
right now as a startup, it's only gonna be one container, and it'll have at least 3 jobs part of that. And then as they grow, they're hoping to just keep on adding containers in there and more and more people. So there's also a job piece to this because it's kind of specialized training, and they're already wanting to meet with the high schools and NPC to help come up with a training program to where high schoolers can have like a after school, whatever, go to NPC and learn this specific field.
Did you have a question?
So when you talk about it's gonna have 3 jobs right now to 1 container, are they already filled jobs, or those are open for employment?
That I don't know. We'd have to ask Jay.
And when you
that.
say it's a shipping container that's gonna be on that property?
Yes,
Okay.
yep.
Yeah, I looked on their website and it looks like that's the machinery or the shipping
Yeah,
containers.
the shipping containers all in that, or the machinery's all in that shipping container.
Interesting.
And
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. I don't know if it's
Well, it looks like a kind of a new technology.
it is, yeah.
And I love that it's.
Yeah,
innovative,
they're
like
kind of
it's
on
out
the-
here, yeah.
They're kind of on the forefront. Jay is actually from Australia, but went to NAU, graduated from NAU, and he's been kind of in this, kind of a weird engineering field with that side of things.
Did you have another question?
yeah, so the lease says $1,200 for the first year and $3,500 for subsequent years.
Mhm.
For an initial term,
5 years.
for 5 years. So will they be, like their company or their business will be here for sure 5 years?
That's what he's making a commitment for at least 5 years, and then after that, we would be able to negotiate. We should be able to negotiate for a bigger price after those 5 years, but we're trying to just get them started and get them here.
So he's gonna be leasing the property for $1,200 a year, so like $100 a month.
Just for the first year,
For the
and
first
then
year.
35 after that.
That is a steal.
It is a steal.
But this is how we entice entrepreneurs to Holbrook, which
And
is.
he'll be paying the property taxes on that. He
He-
would be, so
yeah,
it'd be
and-
at least rent,
Well, it's gonna be our property still, so until, and maybe 5 years or from now, if he's making good money, then we look at maybe selling it to him, and then he would be paying the
Okay,
property.
so we're not generating any revenue from the lease of this other than the $1,200 a year.
Yeah, at this point.
For the first year.
I didn't read all the way through that, but we're requiring insurance, I hope.
Yes, yep, it'll be a $1 million standard policy like everybody else.
And with most lease agreements, if they bring in something that can be transported out, they can take it with them, but if they build something into the facility area, it stays
Yeah.
No,
And
you
there's
just
always
get
an
it
out
reworked
clause
back
too,
out.
so if we're not liking what's going on or whatever, we could, with a 30-day notice, we could get out of it.
There we go.
So we're not worried about any hazardous,
No.
Actually, I was reading a little bit and they said it's actually kinda good for the air,
Yeah,
you
it's
know what I mean?
actually
So,
Yeah,
pro
it's-
environment.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, which was good, so. And Mike Nelson couldn't make it tonight, but he said he did look over the information and he was supportive of it. I did tell him this is just a first reading though tonight, it is not a vote. But if there was questions that Randy couldn't answer tonight, then he will take it back to Jay and have those answers for you throughout the week or prepared for next Wednesday.
So would it be too, short notice for him to either come in person or give a presentation, like a PowerPoint of what it is?
Yeah,
that
I don't
they're
think it's a
doing?
short notice. I asked him to be available for next Wednesday. It's on the agenda, right? Okay.
It's-
So even
Yeah.
if it's Zoom, we can do a
Yeah,
presentation.
so I told him to make sure to be available next
I don't know that
next
it's on,
Wednesday.
is it on the agenda?
It should be the second reading.
Oh, yeah, second reading, yeah,
So-
never mind.
Yeah.
Is he
So,
in
so I
here?
asked
Oh,
him
yeah.
to
Is
be
he in the
available.
States or is he where?
We're not sure where he's at. Do you know where he's at?
He lives down in the valley now.
Okay, I mean, I would prefer him be in person so we could actually ask questions.
I can ask him to be in
But I mean, I
person.
understand it's a drive.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
can still ask. you know,
Yeah,
it's not
but I
like-
mean,
Yeah.
but then, I don't know, I just feel like.
Ask and we'll
Yeah,
see. I
I'll
mean,
ask,
yeah.
I'll ask.
Like I said, we're giving him a good deal, the least they could do is.
Cause I
Yeah,
asked
at
him
least
to
come in
be
person.
available, so I'll ask what he's planning on doing.
Yeah,
So-
I would like to get a lot more, I mean, I think it's a great idea, but I would like to see what exactly.
'Cause we're gonna have a lot of citizens asking us.
Yeah, and I'd like to be a little bit more informed of it.
Councilman Black, did you have a question or
well, I'm
comment?
just, so, once that container gets here, how long before he's actual up and operating on everything?
That I don't know for sure on that either, but they are, highly motivated to get started because they've invested, I can't remember that exact number, but it was like 20,000 just to get this container shipped to the United States, and then it's gonna cost them more to get it here, so they've already invested in getting that container here.
And it's Carbon Utility is the name of the company?
Yes, yeah.
And, okay.
All right, so we did the official first reading. Does that count enough? Cause I don't need to read, I can go by heading. Does anybody else have any other questions or concerns for tonight? Like I said, we'll have more time next week as well to have questions, but we're happy to answer what we can tonight.
Any other concerns that I may need to take to Jay before next week, or?
And if you think of something,
Yeah,
call Randy
yeah,
in
call
the
me.
meantime, so,
Okay.
perfect. All right, well, with that, we'd like to open the floor for the motion for an adjournment.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Meeting adjourned at 6:13.
Thanks again, guys, I really appreciate your time.
And
I know it's a crazy busy week.